Hi, I'm Danny Kanell with CBS Sports HQ, and we brought out the big dogs, right? We got Chip Patterson, Barrett Sallee, because we have to help you preview every single bowl game, and there is none better to break down possibly than the Fiesta Bowl, which is the matchup of number 2 versus number 3 Clemson. It's going to be two heavyweights, two teams that really it's hard to find a weakness on either team, aside from Clemson's resume, which of course was talked and debated much throughout the process as we come here. But you do have a unique situation where you have the lower ranked team is actually the favorite in this one, as Clemson is a 2.5-point favorite in this one. And I'm going to be out there. I cannot wait to see some of the trash that's going to be talked, because I guarantee you have Clemson fans who are reminding Ohio State fans about the last time they met in the playoff and telling them, hey, this isn't going to go in this differently. But yet this Ohio State team does seem to be up to the challenge. Barrett, I'll start with you. Clemson's land 2.5. They haven't been tested all season long. Well, since that North Carolina game, but they have been dominating since then. What unfolds in this game? Is Ohio State going to get the best of Clemson, or does Clemson continue their run of dominance?
Clemson continues their run. The reason no one pays attention to Clemson the last couple of months is because Clemson's been absolutely killing folks. This is a better team than the national championship team from a year ago. Trevor Lawrence the last couple of months has been better. Travis Etienne, I don't know how he's not in New York as a Heisman finalist. This receiving core I would take over anybody, including LSU and Alabama. And this defense led by Isaiah Simmons is just phenomenal. And the job that Brent Venables has done after losing those 4 defensive linemen, I think has gone completely unnoticed. So, look, I think Ohio State's great. But I think a lot of people might get caught with a conversation from before the playoff selection committee finished to now, because the debate for the resume, that was real. That's why Clemson's number 3, and they should be number 3. Their resume is not good. They're still the best team in the country, and while I like Ohio State, I would trust Trevor Lawrence against that Ohio State defense, especially considering Clemson's offensive line has been pretty solid, more than the other way around. Justin Fields has never been in this spot. I think when Brent Venables sees him on tape, he's going to have something for him. So I love Clemson. I think it's going to be a fun game. But Clemson, to me, is the best team in the country, and you can put the resume aside now. There's nothing to suggest that this team's going to slow down.
Quarterback advantage Clemson. Trevor Lawrence greater than Justin Fields. I agree with you there. Running back, I'm going to call it a wash. I think Travis Etienne, 2-time ACC Player of the Year. That against J.K. Dobbins, that's probably pretty even. Offensive line, I'm actually going to go Clemson here. They've got 5 upperclassmen that have all been stellar right there up front, paving the way for Etienne. The only place, really, as I start to break it all the way down, linebacker Clemson with Isaiah Simmons. Defensive backs, the way that Tanner Muse and Kayvon Wallace have played this year, I'm going to go Clemson. The one spot where Ohio State can change this game and win it is going to be with Chase Young in the defensive line. We've seen the Clemson defense take on a little bit of a different feel recently, where it is built more on the back than it is on the front. And Chase Young is the most dominant defensive player in all of college football. In fact, for all of the Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence back and forth, I would sign up just to only watch these two defenses so that I could see Isaiah Simmons and Chase Young. All that said, there is a reason why Clemson is the favorite here, and it is because Las Vegas odds makers have already said that Clemson would be the favorite on a neutral field against any of the college football playoff teams. You watch how efficient this group is. I did watch the blowouts. I don't cut it off in the second quarter when Clemson starts pulling away. They are relentless, and they are executing at a higher level than anybody else in college football. And those kind of mistake-free habits are why Clemson's my pick to win here and my pick to win the national championship.
I am with you guys. My initial hunch coming in was, man, I think Clemson would probably be a 5.5-point favorite. Like, they've been that much better. The fact that it's 2.5 almost makes me a little bit nervous, because I do think there is value in getting tested. And I do think Ohio State gained a lot of valuable experience in the Big Ten championship game. The fact that they were trailing at halftime, the fact that they did get a real significant punch to the gut and they had to respond. The drive coming out of halftime in the Big Ten championship, which took 5 plays, they went 75 yards, was really a resounding drive for me, a confidence builder, if you will, and a team that really wasn't lacking confidence, but it just was another emphatic statement, which has been a really, really impressive season. The unknown with Clemson is, yes, they got tested, and it was North Carolina. And, if North Carolina, they did get the stop on the 2-point conversion. But since then, blowing out every team by 30 points, that makes me a little bit nervous. And I had those same concerns about Alabama through their, dynasty run when they were running through opponents in the SEC saying, well, what's going to happen when they get tested? The one thing I do have to lean on is that Clemson does have experience going back to last year. And I took a lot of heat this season for saying, hey, Clemson, what they did last year should matter because, Trevor Lawrence has played in this situation. Travis Etienne played in this situation. A lot of these players for Clemson have been there. I do think Clemson's defensive line is a problem. That's why I think the run game with Dobbins and Justin Fields could be critical in this one because Clemson's one area of vulnerability has been running up the middle of the field. Secondary should be solid. They'll be challenged, but I think they're up to the task. And all of that NFL talent, which is now gone from Clemson, I think could be an issue for them. But I think they have enough on offense with Trevor Lawrence and company, including T. Higgins, who was spectacular all season long, including the ACC championship game. I think he's going to present some real problems. So I'm going to stick with Clemson laying the 2.5, although I'm not quite as confident as I was just even a couple weeks ago, but I still think Clemson is the best team in the country, and I think they'll prove it in the Fiesta Bowl. The total is set at 63. You've got the number 1 and number 2 defenses in total defense. I think you lean the over in this one. I just think you could see some offense scored on each team. I think there's a lot of firepower on this field, and the teams that these teams have been shutting down that kind of boost their numbers as far as total defense go, none of them are the quality they're going to have to defend here. So I think these offenses will have some success. I would lean the over. How about you, Chip?
I'm going to go under. I think, and this is not just my normal principle, start at an under for every postseason or neutral field game or baseball stadium game, because baseball stadium unders, I mean, what, dugouts? How are you going to score touchdowns that way? Anyway, this is my player to watch. It addresses some of your concerns, Danny. Tyler Davis, freshman interior defensive lineman, has slowly been coming along for Clemson this year, and he's starting to look really, really good here at the end of the season. And I will point you to last year where Justin Ross, the light bulb came on for him between the end of the regular season and the college football playoff. He came out against Notre Dame and he was unstoppable. And talking to some of Clemson's coaches, that is something that's happened during this 5-year college football playoff run. Some of those true freshmen that they're able to get in and slowly add more to their plate during the season, during these blowouts, then all of a sudden when they show up, it's like their sophomore year and they're ready to go. So I do think that both of these defenses are going to really control things. We have explosive firepower. It's going to be sweaty, but I think that there's going to be more strong defensive play than there is necessarily up and down basketball game style action. So I'm going to be going with the under.
I'm with you, Chip. I think the under's the play. And I think a lot of it has to do with motivation. Dabo's been kind of annoying with his no one respects us card that he's been playing for the final month of the season. But he gets to play it because they are number 3. And I think that affects the defense more than the offense, because I think they're going to want to come out and make a statement. Now, offensively, they're, I think, going to do what they typically do, which is kind of feel them out. And then if it gets into a shootout, fine. But I think Brent Venables is going to want to make a statement against Justin Fields. I think Isaiah Simmons and that front 7 are going to want to come out and show the world that little old Clemson isn't about offense. Little old Clemson is about defense. And that motivation, I think, is going to carry throughout the course of the month preparation and show itself. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a heavyweight fight. And in heavyweight fights, I tend to think that they're going to feel each other out early. And in the end, Clemson's going to throw that knockout blow, but it's not going to be, a 60, 65, 70-point game.
Should be a fun one, no doubt. December 28th is a loaded day of college football. You will only need your couch and some chips and maybe some beverages to take them all in, and it will finish off with the Fiesta Bowl at 8 p.m. Ohio State versus Clemson. Should be a banger.